Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Friday, Friday, February 14th. It is Valentine's Day. Don't forget, if you have a wife or a girlfriend, don't forget. Anyway, so yesterday's action was pretty much to the upside. Nice little pop at the end. And overnight has been holding on to that pretty good. So we're starting off with a nice move to the upside. A little bit of weakness here in the London session, but not a whole lot. Still holding above this key support there, or it used to be resistance, now the support. The news we have for this morning, we do have some news to pay attention to. At 8:30, we get retail sales and import-export prices. I think retail sales is going to be the big number. You get a good read of how the consumer feels. Industrial production at 9:15, business inventories at 10. So 8:30, 9:15, and 10, we have news this morning. And then things taper off pretty quick. So that's the news. Looking at the ES coming into today, we're still earnings season, by the way. I saw some smaller companies reported earnings. And mixed bag. I guess if you have any disappointment, you get crushed. Being all over the place here, but anyways, I had to pay attention to that. The resistance areas here at the 6110 was taken out yesterday, that low volume area. They were stalling that for a bit and then they took it out. And so far we are holding on to these gains. So starting off today, we're going to start from the long side of the market and see if they can keep this going. See if this is a one up or if they're going to try to reverse this in the day session. So so far looking to buy a weakness. We had a pretty good edge here at 6120, 6110 for rotations back up. One level below the obvious, you're going to be down at the 95s. So looking to buy against the 20s, 10s, and the 6095s for rotations back up again. And if they take out the 95s, we know we get confirmation of heading lower. I would take off the long bias already at the 6110s and not necessarily be a little bit less aggressive buying that 6095 level. If they're going to hold on to this, I think these two upper areas, the 10 or 20s, should hold. If not, I think we can certainly get the probe done here, but I would take off the long bias for a second there and see if just be a little bit less aggressive on that 95 level. And if they trade back up again, if they do probe down like that and then run right back up again above the 10, well, you're right back on the long side again. So that's how we get started. Looking at the potential shorts against these upper levels at the 45s and the 60s. It could be an edge in between here. I don't have much to lean against at all. So this is just the absolute high. And this is the decent one at the 45 level. But that's it. That's all I have. So I would be a little bit less aggressive on the short side. If this is a move out of the middle to the upside, you do not want to fade it. You want to be a little bit less aggressive on it and let it play out. The only caveat in that is that you are running into this upper area of resistance at the 50s. So from 45 to 60, that whole area is going to be resistance, but exactly where they're going to hold the line, it's hard to say. If they are, they could certainly keep going and make new highs, and that would be a that would be a pretty strong move, especially on a Friday. Usually people market doesn't like to make new highs into a Friday unless there's some really good news going on there. But all the potential tariff threats and cross currents we have going, I doubt we see a rally into the close. I would be a little bit less optimistic about it. It can certainly happen though. So starting off from the long side, looking to buy weakness, 20s, 10s, down to that 95 level. That would be one level outside the obvious. And below 95, take off the long bias, or take off. You're already taking it off by 61.10, but at that point you get confirmation below 95 that we're heading lower, and then we're heading back into this lower range again. So, and then you're still looking to buy against these lower support areas, just a lot less aggressively, and hopefully we don't get that far down. All right, so that's the ES to get started. And we'll see if we need to adjust here, come out to the London close or not. Looking at our NASDAQ and the bonds. So bond market, just kind of holding around that 114.28 to 115. So they're right back up again. So they're right back up in this area of value. They probed right hard down here, then right back up again. The CPI took it down, PPI right back up again, and it'll be held here for for the rest of the session yesterday. So interesting stuff. I mean, it's hard to. I mean, sometimes you have to kind of wonder when they reprice the bond market like they did. So, and it's uncanny so that when the bond market reprices itself, it's not volatile like that. It reprices it, and then you run to a level, and that's where you stay. And now they just reprice themselves right back up again. So, I guess the even if the inflation reads was higher, it wasn't the underlying data wasn't that bad at all. So starting off range bound on the bonds, looking to sell strength at 28s, 115.02s, looking to buy weakness 1420 down to the 1410s. So a pretty tight range on the bonds. And if they start trading above that 1502 level, one level outside that obvious would be 115.08. But at that point, that low volume area comes out, and then we are heading back up again. So this is a low volume area, pretty good area of resistance at that. So looking for shorts again, 28s, 115.02. The last one would be at 115.08. And looking to buy against 1418 to 20, the 1410s for rotations back up again. Below 1410, I think we can run it right back down again, but hopefully that's not what's in the cards for us. Nasdaq is making almost back up, making highs here. So that's interesting. Nasdaq's almost back up here to these 22,400 levels. That's exciting. They did probe above this that resistance area, the 22,060s, before going into the close yesterday. Overnight has been up here. So far, the overnight is holding that level. So I mean, we are pretty much reverse retesting that high right now. This rotational high, and if that holds, we can start heading higher. So we may have a nice move on the on the Nasdaq in front of us. So looking to buy weakness on the Nasdaq, 22,080s. Man, mornings, I tell you, get your voice sorted out. So 22,080s, 22,040s, and the 22,000s for rotations back up. I would say below 22,000s. This little high volume node right there. I think that point, the trade below that, I think we are back in this lower range, and potentially could run down and test the 21,800s again. So not a lot of range, but I mean this whole area is an area of resistance. Nice move yesterday, but we can certainly see some retracement on that. But I would be looking at buying weakness at least down to the 22,000s. Below that one, I will take off the long bias and start thinking more range bound, but still looking to get long all the way down to that 21,800 level or 860 level. So you're getting down into this reverse retest here now. You see an edge here at the 880, like the four-letter edge, a smaller one at 950. So either of these could hold down. The major area is really at the 800 level. So this whole area from 800 to the 870, 860 to 70 is good support. And that could certainly get tested. So, but that means that we're backing off pretty hard from where we are right now. So at this point, a long bias down to the 22,000. Below that one, take off the long bias, go back range bound, but still look to buy down to the 21,860s. And if that comes out to 21,860, well, then there's something else going on and we are heading lower. So that's how we get started. On the way up, not going to be very aggressive on the short side. Looking at a potential move out of the middle to the upside on the Nasdaq, and on capital flow, that's what it looks like, right? A tractor by an area of value, a mode, a balance point, and a big move out of that point. It's definitely a move out of the middle, and we'll see if they can keep going on this one. But initially, you don't have to be super aggressive on the short side until that you can see that move fading out, entering that stage 2 or stage 3 on the profile. So that's how we get started on the Nasdaq. Start out from the long side, same as the ES. Let's see if we can get some continuation of yesterday's move. Hope we don't get disappointed in that the day. Mediocre or to the downside, that would suck. Anyway, gold. So gold is up here at the highs again. They took out the areas here at the 29.32s, 29.36s. That's your key area to pay attention to. If they trade below that one, to take off the long bias, and that's what is that? That's this area right there. So you see 20. This little attractor. You have a small little volume attractor at 29.40 here. It's a little bit higher. That's worth paying attention to. But I'm going to be looking at buying against support. I'm going to do this. Split out the Y like so. So looking to buy against the 29.50s, the 45s, the 37s, and the 32s for rotations back up. These two down here, the 32s and the 37s. If that comes out, we are definitely we are retracing back in this lower range again. So we can see the volume nodes here, and you can see this big body of volume right now. They're up above it, they're extending, and we are trading this as they move out of the middle to the upside right now. So let's see if they can get continuation on this. And if not, if they trade below that 33, no, 32, and then 36s, 37s, and these two support areas. If they trade below those two areas, then we are back in this lower range again. All right. So trade gold from the long side of the market. The only short I can see right now would be at the 57s and the 63s, but I would not be very aggressive on it. It is moving higher, and you don't want to be in front of it if they start running. And if you do have a short trade on a smaller scalp trade, or find a good spot to get short, you want to just keep your stop tight on it. So in case it starts running against you, you get out of it pretty quickly. Finally, oil. And they are pretty much range bound at this point. They are still, we have a little range right now developing. They're filling out this low volume area right here. So the attractor on the upside is 73.20. The attractor on the downside is going to be down here at the 70.20. So between 70 and 73 is our range. And we have pretty much been going back and forth there. But you can see how we're steadily moving lower. That's not in a straight line. So if anything, I would favor getting short against these upper areas. So if they start trading up like this, looking for short setups all the way up to that 72.30s. And maybe last one would be at 72.50s, but above these two, then we are starting to trade back up in this upper area. So that wouldn't be a good sign. And oil can certainly spike. I mean, they can spike based on based on tariff and geopolitical things, all sorts of stuff, right? But it's short term. The structural direction of energy and oil prices are going to be to the downside. So if they have good short opportunities, look for those up against resistance, up against areas like this, potentially short for it, and then you can get nice moves to the downside from there. At this point, just starting off range bounds and looking to buy against the 71.20s, 70 80s, these two support areas. We're going to get short against the 72s, 72.30s, up to that 72.50, 60s for rotations back down. Above 60s, bets are off, and we are staying probably leaning in on the long side at that point, looking for a move to the upside. But those are, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I would not be super aggressive on bigger long trades. There's nothing structural about this going forward, which is going to drive prices higher. It's going to be short-term pops based on news, based on geopolitical events, stuff like that. So that's oil to get started. Let's go back to our ES. And we are pretty much where we left it. Support still holding at the 61.20s. Support still holding at the 22,045 for the NASDAQ. Okay, let's see how this goes. Alrighty, we'll wrap it there, guys. Good trading, and I will see you back at 11:30 for the next update. Alrighty, guys, later.